there, it's Yika Marie. Welcome to 2017. It's a new year and I've got a new camera, so we're going to be filming in 4K. Alright! Today I'm going to show you how to store an antique piece of clothing. The first thing we want to do is find a flat surface on which to work. This is my sewing table, and the first thing we want to do is clean it off. Now if you have deionized water, that is the best option, but water from the tap will work just fine. Make sure your surface is flat and dry before putting anything on it. Make sure your hands are washed, otherwise you can use gloves that can be used to handle antique textiles. So next, lay your garment out on the table. When you are handling your garment, handle it with extreme caution. You do not want to create any points of stress for the garment. You don't want to accidentally tear something. So I'm going to unfold my little bundle here and lay my nice dress out. The first step that you will want to take once your garment is out on the table is you're going to want to examine it to see if there are any problem areas such as holes, tears, spots of dirt, spots of stain, and you will want to take pictures. Unfortunately, dresses that were made in the early 1910s were sometimes made with what is called a weighted silk, and that can lead to splitting, and this dress is starting to split here, so I'm going to take pictures. If I were in a museum, the next thing that I would do is take a very small sample and identify what kind of fiber this is. Unfortunately, I do not have access to a microscope, and I do not want to do a burn test of this because I don't want to burn this. I will not at this time. My best guess is that this is probably a weighted silk satin. The main dress is the weighted silk satin with a likely silk chiffon overlay, and machine-made lace sleeves. There's also a netting underneath. So this is my best guess. Now, I would also normally clean this with a vacuum. However, I'm not going to do that right now because I've got some conflicting information on what the best practice for that is, and I don't want to show you something that isn't best practice. So I'm hoping to take a class this summer to help me learn some of that best practice. So at this point, what I will do is I will store the dress. This is an acid-free box that I purchased from the Container Store. It's an archive box, and you can use it to store garments. It's recommended to use these because since they are acid-free, you're much less likely to actually cause damage to your garment. It's impossible to stop time, so there are certain things that you're not going to be able to prevent, but you can delay the decay of textiles by using appropriate storage materials. So this box will be the storage place for the dress, and it will also be stored in muslin, which I have pre-washed and dried. Alright, so I have laid my dress on the muslin that it's going to be stored in. So now I'm going to very carefully fold this garment back up. Now those of you who follow me for cosplay and costuming related stuff are probably like, what does this have to do with me? Actually, a lot. If you've followed any of the information about Debbie Reynolds passing recently, there is a big issue with preservation of costumes, and especially in Hollywood in her case, but within the costuming community there has been no real effort to preserve costumes that we are making. You're working really, really hard on these costumes. You put a lot of effort and a lot of time into it. Someday people are going to want to look back at this as a historical movement and say, hey, I want to examine some of these costumes and see how they were made. So I think that if there's a costume that you particularly love, one that you want future generations to see, you should start taking care of your garments as it is now. keeping them out of light, all light, because light is damaging in general, but especially incandescent light. Also keeping them away from water sources so that you don't have water damage. Keeping them in such a way that you're not going to have tears in your fabric and your yarn. These things are really important for the preservation of your costumes, not just for things that are historical. Sometimes too, people who are into costuming like to have actual extant garments that they can reference and study. So it's also important that those garments are taken care of very well. All right. Thanks for paying attention. We'll see you next time.